Hey, shalom, shalom, mishpocha. Welcome to another edition of the Haftarah Hashings. This Haftarah Hashings is number 27, and it's called Tzaria, which means delivery, and it's taken from 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 42, all the way to chapter 5, verse 19. Now in Leviticus, we're still dealing with the issues of cleanness, uncleanness, leprosy, and things of this nature. And the Haftarah portion takes place about Naaman, who was this this Syrian who had a Hebrew slave, a female Hebrew slave. Well, Naaman was cursed with leprosy, and out of love and concern for her master, the Hebrew slave suggested that she go to the prophet for him to be cleansed of this leprosy. And so he's like, well, basically I've tried everything else. Hey, it won't hurt to give it a shot. So, he goes to the prophet, and he just expects him to, wave his hands or do, or just say a few words, and boom, everything's all fine and dandy, and he's cured of his leprosy. And because of this preconceived idea in his head on how he was going to be healed of this leprosy, he became disappointed and irritated when the prophet told him, you've got to, immerse yourself in the Jordan River. And he's like, well, this isn't how I envisioned it. So we already see a hint of possibly why he had leprosy, because he had such a bad attitude and was complaining about everything. We've already established through the Torah portions and the other Haftarah portions that leprosy in Judaism is seen as a physical manifestation of a spiritual malady dealing with Lashon Hara, or the evil tongue, which one way it manifests itself is through complaining. And even science will back this up, in psychology, that if one has a bad attitude and complains, it literally affects your health in a negative way. You're more susceptible to get sick, to catch colds and things of this nature. It brings down your immune system. It doesn't help your psyche at all. And but other people who are positive and speak positive things, how much more happier and healthier they are, and how much their health is improved all around. And so even though that when we speak evil or complain or gossip or what have you, we don't get physical leprosy today, but sometimes it does manifest itself in leprosy. If you remember that leprosy is not just the skin disease we know of as leprosy. Leprosy, za'aretz in Hebrew, could mean any form of skin disorder. So we're talking about acne, we're talking about cold sores, canker sores, anything that has to do with the skin, an affliction of the skin. And when somebody is stressed out and angry, a lot of times people get fever blisters or cold sores because of that. Or even break out in acne. So in a way, it still physically manifests itself. But more importantly, it spiritually manifests itself. Just imagine if we could see ourselves in a spiritual mirror, to see our spiritual being. Would we look hideous and leprous, possibly looking like Freddy Krueger, or the Wicked Witch of the West? Who knows? But the prophet said, you just immerse 7 times, which 7 represents completion, in the Jordan River, and you'll be healed. And his servant said, well, hey, you've come this far. If he asked you to do something else, wouldn't you do it? Just go ahead and do it. Well, once he changed his attitude and he went and did as he was told, he was healed, and his whole attitude changed. He was grateful, he was gracious, he was thankful, he thanked the prophet, and he was healed, and as a result, he converted. Now, he was so close to the king, Naaman was so close to the king of Syria, that the Syrian king was old, and he assisted him when he went to the temple to worship his pagan gods. He said, just please forgive me of this one thing. When I bow the knee, with my king, it's like, I don't mean this, I'm just doing it to assist the king because I'm serving the king. I'm just complying on the outside to assist him. I don't mean it on the inside. And he said, I'm just going to actually take a chunk of earth back from your people so that I'll have a holy place to worship in my own country, in my own land. So we see that Naaman converted. So this is again talking about leprosy, talking about the spiritual malady when we complain or we gossip or we have negativity in our speech or in our attitude, and how this can adversely affect us, not only spiritually but sometimes physically as well. So one of the things I really want you to get out of this is to take away from all this is don't have preconceived ideas in your head on how God is going to answer your prayer, how God is going to heal you, how God is going to provide for you, because when you assume and have these preconceived ideas, you will be disappointed every time, because that's not God's MO. God does what God wants to do, and he does it in his way, and we have to be open to whatever way that may be, even if it sounds ludicrous or ridiculous or the long way around. For us, God has a reason and a purpose in this. A lot of times in my younger spiritual days, I would really be needing a touch from the Lord, and I'd go to a service and I'm thinking, okay, during the praise and worship I'm gonna feel all tingly and goosebumpy, and God's gonna heal me and restore me, and he's gonna fix everything that's wrong. And I'd leave that service angry at God, because God, I cried out to you, I praised you, why didn't you touch me? And he would always say to me, because you had it in your head how I was gonna do it, and that's not the way I was going to do it at all. You don't tell me how I'm going to heal you. You don't tell me how I'm going to touch you. I'm going to heal you and touch you and restore you and deliver you in my way. You just got to be open to receive it, whatever it is, and not come to me, to my throne, with preconceived ideas on how I'm going to do things. So that's probably the most important I want you to take away from this week. So we'll talk to you later. Shalom and Shavuot Tov. Bye.